has been so much wrangling at home in this country ever since Article 50 was triggered back in March, of course, ever since that June referendum as well. Some suggestions now in the press that there is an appetite perhaps for a second referendum. In your view, is Brexit definitely going to happen?
No, it's not definitely going to happen. I don't think any of us know, but the momentum, which was very clearly there when Article 50 was passed, is gone. The election has changed the chemistry of the country. I think what we see happening is that the government is finding it very difficult to make any headway. They're disorganised, internally disunited, appear not to have anticipated many of the difficulties involved in a kind of hard Brexit, leaving the customs union and the single market. And all of that is now swilling around government, creating an impression of disunity, incompetent. And by comparison, the European Union is pretty firm, very clear what it wants, well organised, well prepared. And it's becoming embarrassing, to be frank. And I think some of us are forming the view that this may not never happen because of the difficulties on the British side of actually pushing it through.
No one wants to patronise the Leave voters, people who voted to leave the European Union, but I wonder whether you think that many Leave voters might now feel that they were conned, that it simply wasn't explained to them in enough detail how complicated the process would be to get out, this divorce process.
Well, I don't want to disrespect the people who voted to leave, and I don't want to rerun the last referendum. I certainly do think that at the end of the process, when we see whether there is a deal and whether it's a good deal or whether there's no deal, that the public should have another look at this. And I think public opinion is moving in that direction. But it's certainly things which I think the government itself didn't realise. We take one fairly small example that's preoccupied Parliament in the last week, which is the future of Euratom, an important agency that deals with nuclear technology and involves all kinds of things like cancer treatment, isotopes. Nobody had appreciated that if we left the European Union, we leave Euratom and effectively cripple it as an organisation. You multiply that by 100 times and you get some sense of what we're now going through. Civil aviation is going to be plunged into complete chaos unless there's some very rapid simplification.
Well, we've got 20 months until we're supposed to be out. Do you think it's inevitable now that there has to be some sort of transitional period, perhaps even not just for a couple of months, but for a couple of years in order to...
Well, the sensible people in the government and people like the Chancellor are arguing for a transitional period. The headbanger element, and there are quite a lot of them in the cabinet, are saying we don't care, we want out. We can crash out, doesn't matter, consequences don't matter.
Headbangers being David Davis, though, the Brexit secretary?
He is actually, by comparison with the other hardline Brexiteers, quite sane. But people like Boris Johnson, Michael Gove, these are the kind of really irresponsible element in the government. And they're arguing for, a revolutionary solution. Let's just crash out and hope for the best. And I think the public, a lot of them, including many people who voted to leave, I suspect will become very, very seriously concerned about the way this has now been approached.
Your predecessor as leader of the Liberal Democrat Party had promised to sort of cause hell for Theresa May. You're taking a different approach, I understand. You want a constructive opposition. Is there scope for some sort of cross-party committee to deal with Brexit, to negotiate on Brexit?
Well, there already are a lot of cross-party initiatives. The government is at least claiming to be reaching out to the opposition parties, and certainly we'd be up for talking to them and with the Labour Party, the Nationalists. There are also a lot of informal groups. A couple of weeks ago, there was a significant rebellion by a lot of Labour backbenchers. We supported them, the Nationalists did. I think the Conservative rebels are keeping their heads down. But I think when Parliament comes back in September, October, the real resistance will emerge and it will be strong.
There's so much reported infighting now within the government itself. Do you think that in the aftermath of the shock election result as well, and that loss of the majority that Theresa May once had, that a weaker government in Britain means that our hand is weaker now when we go into these negotiations with our counterparts in Brussels?
Well, it doesn't have to be.
But is that the reality
The authority of the Prime Minister is weakened. You sense that it isn't just at a political level. I talk to a lot of civil servants who are just in complete despair about the lack of direction, the lack of clarity, the lack of preparation. I mean, these are the things that are missing. So the fact that Theresa May is politically weak doesn't help in many ways, but I think it's a much deeper problem. The whole Brexit project was almost certainly flawed from the start.
But you think it will happen, but perhaps not
I
a
would
hard
say it's
Brexit?
probably now 50-50.
50-50.
50-50, I think it may never happen. The other possibility, the other alternative, is that the Labour Party, despite its supposed ideological difference with the government, actually works as a kind of grand coalition to push the hard Brexit through. It could happen. That's happening behind the scenes. So those are the two alternatives, and neither of them are very appetising.